minutes away from launch, about 1 minute away from coming out of the hold. Atlas liquid oxygen, Centaur liquid oxygen, and Centaur liquid hydrogen are verified to be at flight level.
30 seconds before releasing the T-minus 4-minute hold, NASA launch manager Tim Dunn will poll managers for a go, no-go for launch.
And from T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you'll be listening to launch conductor Ed Kidda and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure.
You'll hear the team confirm securing of Atlas liquid oxygen, topping followed by the call to transfer the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power.
And we're standing by to come out of our hold in 10 seconds.
Three, two, one, mark.
We are at T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
T-minus 3 minutes, 55 seconds.
Ground pyros enabled.
Flight control officer verifies ground pyrotechnics for release of the Atlas at T0 have been enabled. T-minus 3 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. T-minus 3 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. At T-minus 3 minutes, topping of liquid oxygen will be secured and the Atlas tanks will be at flight pressure.
T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yes, internal.
And the flight termination system
Securing
is now internal.
Atlas tanks at flight pressure.
T-minus 2 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. Atlas rocket fully fueled, ready to go. Weather is go. Headed for a liftoff at 8:29 a.m.
One minute 59.
Vehicle internal.
1:55.
Launch securing Centaur LH2.
150.
Securing Centaur LO2.
The Atlas and Centaur has power is now internal.
140.
Launch enabled.
137.
Yes, armed.
Flight termination system has been armed. T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds and counting.
One minute 20 seconds.
OCUs armed.
SCS count started.
115. 110.
Vent valves locked.
Centaur liquid oxygen and hydrogen vent valves closed for flight.
T-minus 1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
Launch conductor Ed Kidda, status is the eastern range.
And the range is go. Under a minute away from launch.
T-minus 40 seconds.
The Centaur tanks will reach flight pressure at T-minus 30.
T-minus 28. 25.
Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur. Go Teacher Sim.
All systems are go. T-minus 15 seconds and counting.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. have liftoff of TDRS-M on the Atlas V rocket from Space Launch Complex 41. TDRS-M, securing space-to-ground communication for NASA's low Earth orbit operations, including the International Space Station.
Atlas beginning an engine yaw maneuver to steer to its planned path at an inclination of 26.2 degrees.
engine pressure.
Hearing the voice of Patrick Moore providing launch vehicle ascent data. Patrick is the United Launch Alliance Denver Network Operations Center Command Control Center.
Pump speeds and injector pressures all looking good. Now
Reading the
passing
data coming
45
directly
seconds
from the
into
rocket.
flight.
The Atlas
And
rocket carrying
observing,
TDRS-M
nominal
will
flight
reach
control
supersonic speed at 1 minute 20 seconds into flight.
Now passing 1 minute into flight. Vehicle is now 3 miles in altitude and traveling at 1,100 miles per hour.
Standing by for max Q.
Now
or
passing
maximum
1 minute
dynamic
15
pressure.
seconds into
A minute
flight.
32 seconds into flight.
Mach 1, Atlas V is now supersonic. One minute, 30 seconds into flight. Now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
This is the point when mechanical stress on the rocket reaches its peak because of the rocket's velocity and resistance created by the
The
atmosphere.
RD-180 is throttled down to 95% thrust as expected. Engine response looks good. This engine thrust profile will continue until the vehicle reaches a programmed 5G acceleration limit.
About 2 minutes into the flight
And
of
now
Atlas.
passing 2 minutes into flight, approximately 2 minutes remaining in the first stage of flight. Vehicle trajectory traveling right down the middle of the range track, looking good. RD-180 engine operating parameters also looking good.
Booster engine cutoff slated for 4 minutes 2 seconds after launch.
The Atlas V rocket now weighs just 1/2 of what it did at launch, burning propellant at a rate of almost 2,600 pounds per second. And vehicle has gone to closed loop guidance. Now passing 2 minutes 30 seconds into flight. And RCS pyro valve has been fired. Centaur reaction control system now pressurizing to flight levels. Atlas V is now 30 miles in altitude, 43 miles downrange distance, traveling at 4,700 miles per hour. And now passing 3 minutes into flight, approximately 1 minute remaining until booster engine cutoff. RD-180 continues to perform well. Vehicle trajectory continuing down the middle of the range track.
ULA's Patrick Moore providing vehicle ascent data. 3 minutes 20 seconds into flight.
Now passing 3 minutes 30 seconds into flight. Mach 10. And vehicle has reached the 5G throttle limit. And we've begun boost phase chill down.
Less than 30 seconds away from booster engine cutoff.
Three minutes 50 seconds into flight, standing by for BECO momentarily.
6 seconds after BECO, the Centaur second stage will separate from the Atlas booster.
And we have BECO, booster engine cutoff, standing by for stage SEP.
10 seconds after
And we
separation.
have good indication of stage separation.
The Centaur single RLC engine ignites for the first time.
We have ignition and full thrust on the RL-10.
The RL-10 produces 22,900 pounds of thrust and burns for just under 8 minutes.
And we have good indication of fairing separation. This is the first of 2 planned burns for today's mission. This first burn should last approximately 13 minutes and 40 seconds.
The payload fairing protecting TDRS-M during its flight through the atmosphere
And
has been
RL-10 engine
jettisoned.
operating parameters all looking good. Vehicle trajectory continuing down the middle of the range track. The Centaur is now 107 miles in altitude, 350 miles downrange distance, traveling at 11,160 miles per hour. And the reaction control system has begun periodic firings to maintain thermal conditioning as expected. The Centaur propellant utilization system has gone to closed-loop control. Now passing 5 minutes, 30 seconds into flight. Initial look at booster performance shows a near nominal performance. Data quality continuing to look good from this initial phase of flight. Now passing 6 minutes into flight. The Centaur is now 145 miles in altitude, 560 miles downrange distance, traveling at 11,500 miles per hour. Now passing 6 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, RL-10 continuing to perform well. Chamber pressures and pump pressures all looking good.
About 11 minutes remaining in the Centaur burn prior to MECO 1.
And vehicle body rates all remaining very stable for this first Centaur burn. And the periodic RCS firings for thermal conditioning have warmed up the RCS lines to near bottle temperatures. And engine pressures all continuing to remain very stable, looking good. Centaur is now 173 miles in altitude, 815 miles downrange distance, traveling at 12,000 miles per hour.
Eight minutes into the flight of TDRS M. Centaur upper stage continuing with its burn.
And the RL-10 is operating as expected now, making slight modifications to the propellant utilization. Now passing 8 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, RL-10 continuing to perform very well. Vehicle trajectory continuing down the middle of the range track. Centaur is now 187 miles in altitude, 1,080 miles downrange distance, traveling at 12,800 miles per hour.